So, not that long ago, ancient times up until about the 80s, every story was really a love story, or it was a story about a quest to gain something, you know, gain something greater. And somewhere along the line, in every story there is this theme, this story arc, this quest for love or quest for greatness or enlightenment or greater understanding, you know. And usually it was represented as some jewel or some relic or something. But somewhere along the lines, the story kind of shifted, you know. Instead of a quest for love or knowledge, wisdom, greater understanding, or something shiny, it became about people being, how you say, people being a fucking boss or being a bad bitch or being that dude or that motherfucker or, yeah, being a fucking character, you know. Everybody somewhere along the lines is on a quest for fucking power or trying to be some character, trying to play some role, you know. And I would question, where are these roles coming from? A lot of the perceptions of the roles that we're trying to fill are maybe things that are given to us, maybe things that we see oversaturated in the media and things like that, that we subconsciously and consciously take in and then imitate, you know. And that begs the question, you know, if just you see so many people doing this, who are we really? You know, who are we really? And that's a question I think everybody should ask themselves when you look around at all the influences, from your media to your friends to your family to society to culture, all the messaging and communication we get about who we are and what we should be. Not all bad, obviously. You know, it's good to have structure and philosophy, but there definitely needs to be more question about who we are as individuals and as a collective. And when I mean question, I don't mean in a negative sense. I mean question our potential, you know, question the depth of our potential. You know, what I'm saying is we don't always just have to step into a role that we're given. You know, we can actually create roles. We can create our own character, you know. I think that's very key. And I think that's what we all should really be working on, is creating really our own character in this story. This life is our narrative and our story, and we should be writing it, you know. Nobody else should get to write our story. It's ultimately, we're the ones that walk in our shoes. We're the ones that should do it should control the narrative, you know. So that takes us really kind of taking a step back, a bird's eye perspective, and really looking at this whole thing. Where is this going? You know, how is this story playing out? If I don't like the story, I quit reading, I stop watching, you know. Or I pick up a story that I do want to get into. So you have that ability without cutting the story off. You don't want to do that, you know. You have the ability to shift the narrative in this life, you know. So how do you do that? It starts with your own personal relationship with yourself. How do you talk to yourself? You know, what are your habits? What are your daily routine? How do you envision your life? And how do you see yourself getting to your goals and all that? And how do you feel about all this? It's very key. How do you feel about your narrative? What do you want to change, you know? Write your script, write out your role. You have the power and it's fun. You know, get creative with it, have fun, you know. I feel like, and it's not always intentional, but everybody, we all at some point is trying to be something or play some role or some character. Really, we're trying to figure out where we fit in and what's our contribution to this life. And really, there's that's a great thing, you know, that's a great thing. We do that even when we don't realize that we're doing it. So, write the narrative. Write the narrative. Expand our way of thinking and our depth of thinking. You know, you're writing the script, so get creative. Look at it like this. If you could write in or do whatever you want, how would you direct this? Where would you take it? You know? And then fully fucking commit. Commit, dude. Commit to the story. Commit to the narrative. Go all in, you know? Go all in. And let your feelings line up with where you want your narrative to go, you know? If you want to get a certain place, you have to start understanding what it would be like to think and feel from that place. To be in that spot that you want to be, put yourself there mentally, emotionally, even if you're not there physically, put as much as your energy into that place. And recall that. Go back there time to time, you know. Call up that energy. And it'll become familiar to you. And you'll start to see yourself being pulled in that direction. So yeah, and how I started out this video was a quest for greater knowledge, you know, a love story. That's how a lot of stories are. And why is that? You know, I would question that as well, you know. That's something I'm still working at understanding. I have a number of ideas about it, but it is very fascinating. We can see that the time that stories started to shift and became, you know, from the story arc that we've usually gotten in every story, it began to shift, and the things that people want to attain and journey for in stories, movies and stories nowadays is a little bit different if you pay attention. And of course, that's not bad always, you know, it shifts with the time and the culture. But, you know, what does it say about us as a collective when these are the type of things we're taking into our subconscious? You know, what does it say about what direction we're going in? You know, when we look at any type of story on TV, on Netflix, when we're reading, what type of place does it take us to? You know, mentally, emotionally, you know. You could definitely see a shift, and there's a lot of things people could say. Everybody has a lot of complaints. And I don't want to spend too much time doing that. I'm more interested in getting the positive attributes out of what we can and kind of accentuating and rolling with that. So, create your character, write your narrative, you know, pay attention to what type of media you're digesting, you know, what type of communications and entertainment that you're taking in. And think about your narrative and think more about things that support your narrative. Don't be a scared. Don't be a scared, whatever the fuck that is. Don't be afraid. Don't be in fear, scared. Don't be none of that. To step into your authentic truth and your story and walk that path, you know. You're meant to. And the character, the real you that you really are is better than any storyline anybody else or anything could give you. It's your story. So, yeah, love y'all. Peace.